Ashoka is a remarkable character. He was the third ruler in the mighty Maurya dynasty, which controlled a huge expanse of territory in northern India. That's unusual since for most of its pre-modern history, today's India was a patchwork of small regional political units. Under the Maurya dynasty, you have a massive expanse, an empire with a capital at Pataliputra, today's Patna. What's most amazing about his biography is the event that occurred when he commanded a bloody battle. It's the story that the textbook uses to launch the chapter. He presided over a massacre, which the textbook calls a horrific battle in the region of Kalinga. 100,000 died. As he viewed the battlefield at his victory, the story goes, he saw a Buddhist monk walking through the battlefield, calmly, radiating peace and compassion. The sight struck him so powerfully that it made him see the horror of his destruction, and he changed his life instantly. He comes to renounce violence and to seek to become a wise and just king. He makes the Buddha's teachings the foundation of his rule, and the Buddhist artworks that he creates are all about that commitment. He sponsors both columns, or pillars as they're often called, and rock edicts. So stone works that have carved into them his statements, his edicts, which means his decrees, his commands, his mandates of what he wants his kingdom to be. And there's the word dharma. So these are statements of spiritual purpose that he wants to spread throughout his kingdom. So this is Ashoka's voice as the carved into lettering, carved into stone. And some of it is on boulders, so it's as if the earth itself is speaking his ideas about a Dharma kingdom. But when it comes to the pillars, the form of the pillars may seem sort of simple to an untrained eye, but in fact, in his time and place, it was highly symbolic. This form of pillar or column reaching clearly vertically is understood to be an Axismundi, a widespread ancient idea that this vertical channel is the axis of the world which links heaven and earth. So we can remember that the word yoga, a spiritual seeker, literally means to yoke or to join, to bring these opposite realms of the sky, space, the open expanse of infinity in connection with the earth, the finite realm. And so this is related to the idea of chakras being in the body, so that the body itself with its spine seated in meditation forms an axis mundi. This diagram shows that idea, and that axis mundi is linked to the idea of chakras, which we'll talk about soon as circles or wheels of energy in that linking. So don't let this image of the seated Buddha, this sculpture, mislead you. This doesn't exist yet. It's not going to exist for more than 500 years. But I'm putting it in here to show that there's a very clear implied line that's a vertical axis mundi, which is the whole literal focus of the column. And this is related to this idea expressed by the Tibetan Buddhist teacher Sogyal Rinpoche in his essay, Bringing the Mind Home, that's how he's explaining Buddhist meditation, as bringing the mind home. And listen to the words. The Buddha sat in serene and humble dignity on the ground, with the sky above him and around him, as if to show us that in meditation you sit with an open, sky-like attitude of mind, yet remain present, earthed and grounded. The sky is our absolute nature, which has no barriers and is boundless. And the ground is our reality, our relative ordinary condition.